Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a full foundation routine using only drugstore products. So these are products that I know work for me. Let me begin by just kind of describing my skin. I do have pretty oily skin. I don't have any dry patches or anything like that. Like when I begin the day, my skin is not oily, but as the day goes on, it gets turns into a greasy hot mess. So I am pretty oily, and I have acne scars over here, and then I'm having some breakouts along my chin, you know, like everybody does. And I also have redness and pores around here. So if you have a similar skin type, then this video is for you. I'll be showing you everything I do from foundation and concealer to powder. So yeah, let's get started. I'm going to put back my hair, and if you want to see my foundation routine, then just keep watching. So if you want your foundation to last all day, and if you want to fix some problem areas, the first thing that you're going to want to do is use a primer. The primer that I'm going to be using today is the Maybelline Baby Skin Instant Pore Eraser. And I'm just going to be using this in areas where I have large pores and kind of on my chin and smile lines a little bit there. So I'm not going to use it on my whole face. So I'm just squeezing a small amount on to my finger. And I'm having trouble closing it. And then I'm going to kind of rub my fingers together like this and begin smoothing it over areas that I want to put it, where I have large pores, fine lines, anything that needs to be filled in before the foundation goes on, because this is what that is doing, is filling in pores, fine lines, anything where there's a ridge in the skin. And I also kind of pat it in a little bit. Make sure it gets down into those pores. Next for foundation, I'm going to be mixing 2 shades of the L'Oreal True Match foundation. Comes in little bottles like this. Over the summer, I was N3, Natural Buff, and over the winter, I'm kind of N2, Classic Ivory. Now that it's getting into the fall and I'm losing my tan, I'm kind of in between shades. But so there is nothing between N3 and N2. So a good way to fix that problem is to just mix your foundation. You can just mix it on your face, just kind of dabbing it all over. Dab some of the N3, dab some of the N2, and then kind of mix it as you're going along your face. But for today, I'm going to be mixing it on my hand just to show you how I do that. I'm not going to use too much. I don't want to have it look cakey, but this is a pretty buildable foundation, so I shouldn't really run into a problem with that. So I'm starting with the N3, and this one does not have a pump, which makes me sad, but so I kind of shake it out onto my finger, and then I'm putting it on back of my hand just like that. I'm doing that like twice. Just make sure I have enough. And then there's some left on my fingers, so I'm just spreading that out. So then you're going to do the same thing with the N2. Putting it right on top of the N3 on your hand. And I'm more N3 than N2, so I'm going to use a little less of the N2. So then once you have it on the back of your hand, it should look like that. I'm going to be taking a damp beauty sponge. This is not a beauty blender. I found this online, or I got it for Christmas, but it was from online. So I haven't actually used a beauty blender. I don't know if it's better than this, but I love these sponges, and I definitely recommend them. They're on like Amazon. So I'm going to take the pointier end and I'm kind of mixing it on my hand. And then going and dabbing it on my face. And then I begin pouncing it in. And you can always add more foundation, but it's hard to take away foundation once it's on your face without messing everything up. I'm just pressing it into the skin, which is what will make it look the most natural. And you really do want to get close up to your mirror so you can see if there's patches that haven't been filled in or anything like that. So this is after kind of the first application of that foundation. You could leave it here. I'm actually going to add a little bit more. Like I said, this is a pretty buildable foundation. So I'm just going to actually add directly onto my face the N3 because I'm feeling like this is a little light. But that's no problem. I can fix it. So I'm literally just taking one and dabbing it. And then same technique as before, take your beauty sponge and pounce it into the skin. And adding a second layer of foundation is good if you have acne or any sort of problem skin that you really feel you want to cover up. Foundation is a really good base for the rest of your makeup. Even if you do the best smoky eye in the whole world, if you don't have a good base of foundation and everything like that, it'll kind of defeat the purpose. And I'm also dragging this down my neck to blend it in. Otherwise it'll look like you have a mask. After foundation, the next step is to do concealer. You could do concealer to just conceal areas of problem like acne or dark circles under your eyes, or you can also use it to highlight the high points of your face. And what I mean by high points is the bridge of your nose, the middle of your forehead, underneath your eyes, on your chin, and sometimes right here, and kind of around your mouth. So, totally up to you. I'm going to use this mostly just as a concealer today for underneath my eyes. You want to get those dark circles away. And I also use this as an eyeshadow primer. So I put it on my eyelids as well. So I should tell you what I'm using. This is the Maybelline Fit Me Concealer in 10 Light. So I'm just taking one pump, and you kind of do it in a triangle underneath your eye. And I like to get also up in that corner right up here, so I feel that it gets dark down there. And don't go past the bottom of your nose. Then kind of make a triangle, and then I'm putting some on my eyelid. Now you will look like this. So we're gonna take the same damp beauty sponge and same motion as before, just pouncing it in where we put it. And this will brighten up your under eye as well as conceal any dark circles that you may have underneath your eyes. So here's what you look like with foundation and concealer. As you can see, my eyes now look less tired and sad because I've taken away the dark circles and I've brightened up this whole under eye area, and I've also primed my eyelids. Sorry. So the next very important step once you have your foundation and concealer is you want to set it with powder. If you don't set it with powder and you just leave it as it is, it will be 1, sticky to the touch, and easy to rub off. And also, especially underneath your eyes, it will begin to crease, and it'll crease into lines around your mouth, around your eyes, around your nose, everywhere that you get kind of smile lines, you might get those, anything like that. So you want to set it with powder, especially your under eye area. Even if you feel like you are dry and you don't want to set your foundation, you still should set the concealer underneath your eyes. So for that, I'm going to be using the Maybelline Fit Me Powder in Ivory. And as you can see, this powder is lighter than my skin tone because I'm also using it to brighten up even more that under eye area where we use the concealer. So I'm using an e.l.f. small tapered brush. I love this brush for this. So I just kind of dip it in the powder, not too much, you don't want it to look cakey. And I begin by patting underneath the eyes to set it so that it doesn't settle into those little lines under there. Make sure you kind of sweep it across your lid to set that so it's all ready for eyeshadow or whatever you're doing, eyeliner. And then you can kind of sweep it just to set it even more. Make sure you go both towards your ears and towards your nose. So go both ways. So now you can see, well, I don't know if you can see on camera, but I can feel that my under eyes are nice and set now. They're not going to move. Hopefully they're not going to crease. So I'm going to move on and powder the rest of my face. For a while I was using the Maybelline Fit Me powder like this one that I was just using, but I was using it in matte and poreless on my face. But I just found that it was a little too cakey. Even if I used a setting spray, after a while it kind of got greasy. Well, not greasy, dewy, but it just looked cakey to me. So I prefer to use a loose powder because I feel like I can control where it goes more easily, and it's very easy to kind of fix it up throughout the day. So I'm using the CoverGirl Professional Loose Powder in 115 Translucent Medium, kind of just a little pop. And I'm using the e.l.f. Complexion Brush, which is just a big fluffy brush. So don't go overboard on the powder, you will look cakey. No one wants that. So I'm actually just going to use, I just shook the powder out and there's a little bit left in the top. So I'm just going to use that. So I just one dip and then I kind of swirl it around my face. Starting, I kind of do each area individually. So I do this area on this cheek, do my chin, around my mouth, other cheek, and forehead. And translucent powder tends to go flying everywhere and get all over your shirt, so just make sure that before you walk out of the house, you don't have powder all over you. I like to use more on my nose because that's where I get the greasiest. So here is the finished look. I have gone and done everything from foundation to concealer to powder. So at this point you would go on and you would do your eyebrows, or maybe you want to do bronzer, eyeshadow, whatever you have. This is when you would do this. But this, as you can see, it is pretty matte, which is what I prefer. If you prefer a dewier finish, you might not want to set your whole face with powder. You might want to use, I know L'Oreal makes a True Match Lumi, and that one comes in a pump bottle, so that's nice. For me, it was just a little too dewy, but if you like the dewy, I would definitely go with the L'Oreal True Match Lumi. So yeah, that is the final result. I used all drugstore products. Make sure you subscribe and like this video and comment down below, everything like that. So I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching. So the next also, I don't know if you can hear, but there's like church bells.